Hi, my name is Amy Roberts, and I'm here to answer your questions about culturally responsive teaching. So, culture is the lens through which we view others in the world around us. So, culturally responsive teachers need to identify any potential barriers through self-reflection that they may have in looking at other cultures, then commit to breaking down those barriers, and then embracing a world of cultural diversity. Only then can they form a meaningful connection with English learner students, and that is essential. That connection is essential in order for meaningful learning to happen. So cultural competence examines a teacher's ability to teach students from cultures other than their own. And in addition to self-identifying any potential barriers that a teacher might have and committing to embracing diversity, an effective and culturally competent educator has a certain set of skills that enables them to teach across many cultures, and namely that skill is one of the major skills is forming connections with those English learners. For students to learn, educators need to convey to their students that they are valued and that they value their culture. They need to get to know them deeply, and when students feel valued, they're more likely to share information and on their lives and experiences. And teachers need to be aware that things like eye contact or speed at which tasks are completed are greatly affected by culture, and then integrate that knowledge into the classroom. So before a student even steps foot into the classroom, their culture has already told them, given them information about learning in terms of respect for institutions, teachers, how they view women and men, how they look at students versus adults. So all those things can greatly affect their learning experience. Studies have shown that schools that embrace cultural diversity have a great and positive impact on language acquisition. When a student feels like they are valued and welcome, they are more likely to be motivated to learn. So having classrooms that embrace those learners that are warm and relaxed, and where students and teachers are supportive and encouraging is key. So when teachers look at their curriculum, they need to have a culturally responsive lens to look through and identify any biases for learning and adapt curriculum so that the learning experience remains to embrace cultural diversity. In early childhood, it's important to have different dolls that embrace diversity, and then also books that highlight other cultures. Some strategies for leveraging home language. A teacher can use multilingual curriculum, and cultural assets should be treated like assets because they enrich the learning experience. So students should be given an opportunity to share things about their culture in the classroom during cultural events or planned activities. So it's really important that we come from an asset-based approach when we have English learners in our classroom, identifying their strengths and their needs for improvement, and then their identity, and then taking that piece and formulating a differentiated plan of instruction for that student. And that goes for students whose needs might not be able to be met inside that classroom, who may need additional instruction outside the classroom. So hooking those students up with a specialty teacher that can meet their needs. Opportunities to make a social connection. I think the first thing is safety. Students need to feel safe, not just physically, but socially and emotionally, and grouping students together, giving them a choice of seating arrangements is one way that you can do that. So understanding the social emotional piece is foundational to learning, and educators need to take into consideration that students need to feel safe in order to learn, and in establishing a routine in the classroom environment is really important, and it can develop into a sense of safety because the student knows what to expect and predict. An educator can explicitly explain those routines so that students know what's expected. There are high expectation for learnings, and then the support of that teacher to help them get there. So school and home connections. Funds of knowledge is a term that looks at the wealth of historical and cultural assets that families bring to their community and their society and society in general by what they can do and what they know. So a gifted, culturally competent educator knows how to integrate that into the classroom to achieve learning objectives. To build partnerships with families, communication is key. So home visits, calls, reaching out to families to engage them in activities where they can share their funds of knowledge. If there are signs of inequity or injustice, effective multicultural educators speak up about those things and don't remain silent. So they connect where there's a need and help and advocate for those families. So community involvement, it's all about relationships with the students and their families, and translating newsletters so that the family knows that their language and culture are valued and respected and should be retained. Signage in the classroom that welcomes students and their families in their home language, and are some of the ways that teachers can invite the family to engage in the classroom. Some ways that teachers can help English learner families engage with the community would be to host a event where community resources come and are paired with English learner families so that they can perhaps get the resources they weren't aware of or they need, and then providing translators if necessary, and in order to connect them with the services that they need in order to thrive, because when families are thriving, then kids can thrive at school too. Thank you.